Good morning everyone, and welcome to my presentation for Executive Planning Day. This is the list of content we will be going through today. The first topic will be discussing about the macroeconomy and the understanding of the business cycle. There are three key macroeconomic indicators. First, GDP. GDP is the total monetary value of all goods and services produced within a country's border over a specific time period. It measures the economic output and is a critical indicator of a country's overall economic health. Next is inflation. Inflation refers to the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services rises, eroding purchasing power over time. It is typically measured by the Consumer Price Index or the Producer Price Index. Finally is unemployment. Unemployment is the percentage of the labor force that is jobless and actively seeking work. It is often categorized into types such as structural, cyclical, and frictional unemployment. So how changes in these indicators provide insight into the business cycle? Expansion. In this phase, GDP is growing, inflation may be moderate, and unemployment is falling. Consumer and business confidence is typically high, leading to increased spending and investment. Contraction. In this phase, GDP contracts, inflation may decrease, and unemployment increases. Businesses reduce production and investments, leading to job losses and lower consumer demand. Next, we'll be discussing the aggregate demand and aggregate supply analysis. The short-run aggregate supply curve is an upward sloping curve showing the positive relationship between the aggregate price level and the total quantity of goods and services firms are willing to supply. It is called short-run because it assumes certain input prices like nominal wages are sticky or fixed. A movement along the curve is caused by a change in the aggregate price level, while a shift of the entire curve is caused by changes in factors like technology, input prices, or taxes. Short-run aggregate demand shows the total spending on goods and services, and it slopes downwards as lower prices increase demand. Short-run aggregate supply shows the total output firms produces at varying price levels, and is upward sloping because higher prices incentivizes firms to produce more, due to higher potential profits when input prices are sticky. The intersection of these curves determines the short-run equilibrium price level and output in the economy, influencing real GDP and inflation. Long-run aggregate supply represents a nation's potential output when all factors of production are fully employed, shown as a vertical line at the full employment level of real GDP. Aggregate demand is the total demand of goods and services in an economy at a given price level. In the long run, the intersection of AD and LRAS curve determines the equilibrium price level and real GDP, which will be at the potential output level. Long-run aggregate demand refers to the total demand for goods and services in an economy over a long period where price and wages are fully flexible. While AD is typically represented by a downward sloping curve, its position is determined by factors like consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports. In the long run, however, the economy's equilibrium is determined by the intersection of aggregate demand and the vertical long-run aggregate supply curve, which represents the economy potential output. So, these are the effects on KPMG. The short-term effects includes increased client activity, consulting demand, increased M&A activity. The long-term effects includes strategic planning for clients, tax and regulatory services, supply chain and infrastructure consulting, and labor market advisory. Next, we'll be talking about the tariff and trade war. So, a tariff supply and demand graph shows that the tariff, a tax on imports, raises the prices of a good, leading to a contraction in domestic demand and an expansion in domestic supply. This results in a decrease in imports, with the government gaining tariff revenue and domestic consumers experiencing a loss of consumer surplus, while domestic producers and the government typically see gains. So, the winners and losers from the tariff. The winners include domestic producers and the government. The losers includes consumers, foreign suppliers, and US firms. So what are the key effects on KPMG? Cost of operation. Higher cost of operation. KPMG often uses a mix of imported software and services, example, accounting software, data analytics tools, and cloud services from global providers may face higher operational costs. These costs could affect the firm's internal operations as the price of software solutions rises due to the tariff. If KPMG has offices in the US that rely on imported technology for data analysis, accounting, or other professional services, the increased cost could be passed on to the clients, potentially reducing profitability of making KPMG services less competitive in the US market. Finally, we'll be discussing about insights from behavioral economics. So, behavioral economics challenges the traditional assumption of rational decision making that is central to classical economics. It integrates insights from psychology, social sciences, and economics to better understand how people make choices, often in ways that deviate from strict rationality. For global consulting firms like KPMG, which works with diverse clients across many industries, incorporating behavioral economics into business strategies can lead to more effective decision making, better client advisory, and a deeper understanding of the market dynamics. So, here are some of the examples. Pricing strategies for clients. KPMG can help clients in industries like retail, e-commerce, and hospitality design pricing strategies that account for these psychology biases. For instance, instead of a straightforward price reduction, businesses could frame discount as limited time offers or exclusive deals to exploit the endowment effect and scarcity bias. Marketing and consumer behavior. By recognizing that consumers often make decisions based on emotion rather than logic, KPMG can advise clients on how to design product bundles or promotional offers that nudge consumers toward higher sales. For instance, businesses could frame a high-quality product as a premium choice and offer a lower price option with a strong comparison, leveraging anchoring to influence consumer perception. Next is incentive design for employees. By understanding these biases, KPMG can help clients design incentive structures that are more aligned with actual human behavior. For example, instead of purely financial bonuses, companies might implement team-based rewards that appeal to the employees' social preferences for group success, or provide non-monetary rewards such as recognition, which can often be more effective motivator than money alone. In consulting, especially for companies undergoing transformation, KPMG can apply insights from behavioral economics to overcome status quo bias. When advising on mergers, acquisition, or restructuring, KPMG can develop strategies that help employees adapt to new changes more effectively. This could involve framing the changes as a positive opportunity rather than a threat to reduce resistance, or using peer influence to make the new way of working seem like the norm, which can lead to faster adoption of the new processes of technology. And that is all for my presentation. Thank you.